All right, Richard, another Fantasy Goodfellas episode where we talk about the top 24 quarterbacks for Week 10 now.
Nice.
So before we get started, let's go and review Week 9.
In Week 9, we got 20 of 24 correct. But more importantly, 9 of our top 12 players were in the real top 12, and 11 of our top 14. So boom, we're killing it when it comes to quarterbacks.
All right, well, let's keep the streak going. So let's start with the top 24 quarterbacks for Week 10. The Fantasy Goodfellas.
Boom.
Rolling on the field.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.
Number 1, we have Kyler Murray, home against Buffalo. What a game he just had. Ryan, what do you have to say about Kyler Murray?
Kyler Murray is the number 1 quarterback on a per-game basis. He's passed for 2,130 passing yards. He's also rushed for 543 yards, and he has 24 total TDs so far this season. He's doing what Lamar Jackson did last year. The question is, can he sustain it for the remainder of the season?
I think he can. Kyler Murray is a better passer than is Lamar Jackson. And number 2, Aaron Rodgers, great matchup, home against Jacksonville. Number 3, Russell Wilson, who will be at the Rams. So Ryan, what do you have to say about Russell Wilson?
Yes, Russell Wilson's going against the Los Angeles Rams, which is the second-ranked defense. They're number 2 against the pass and number 5 against the rush. So this is going to be an intriguing matchup.
I really think you can't stop Russell Wilson. And number 4, Josh Allen at Arizona. So Tua just had a good game against Arizona, and Josh Allen's on a hot streak. And number 5, Justin Herbert at Miami. Here's where we dropped Justin Herbert just a little because he's playing that Miami defense, which can be very creative. Obviously couldn't stop Kyler Murray, but Justin Herbert might be a different story. And number 6, Deshaun Watson at Cleveland. And Watson has 2 great receivers in Fuller and Cooks. And number 7, we have Tom Brady at Carolina. What happened to Tom Brady, Ryan?
Tom Brady is outside of the top 12 quarterbacks on a per-game basis. He was the worst starter in Week 9. More than likely, he'll probably rebound, but probably is not a fantasy star. He's 4th in TDs so far this season with 20 and 6 in passing yards at 2,398.
Numbers-wise, he's okay, but I get you. Yeah, about being a fantasy star. In today's fantasy world, if you're not running the ball as a quarterback, your value takes a big hit. At number 8, we have Drew Brees home against San Francisco. Here's the other old guy, though, that is looking sharper week to week, and he got Michael Thomas back. I like Drew Brees in my top 10. And number 9, Lamar Jackson at New England. Here's a guy that's been having issues scoring fantasy points. His team keeps winning, but at some point you have to ask yourself, did people figure out Lamar Jackson? We got him in our top 9 because of his threat to run, which is huge in fantasy. Number 10, Ben Roethlisberger, home against Cincinnati. Big Ben hasn't had a great fantasy season, but he's starting to warm up. 11, Joe Burrow at Pittsburgh. Like I just said, tough matchup, right, against Pittsburgh, but I think Joe Burrow's still going to score points. And number 12, Tua Tagovailoa, home against the LA Chargers. He's home. Just had a great game at Arizona. We're seeing Tua starting to get more and more comfortable. He is a gifted quarterback, and I think he's going to do well. Number 13, Jared Goff, home against Seattle. We love the matchup. Ryan?
Jared Goff is going against the Seattle Seahawks, one of the worst defense in the entire league, and they're 32nd against the pass. So he's definitely probably will have a chance to just light it up.
Number 14, Ryan Tannehill, home against Indianapolis. The last few weeks, Tannehill's been passing less. It's kind of what we expected. I mean, it almost seemed like the beginning of the season was an anomaly for him where he was lighting it up. And number 15, Derek Carr, home against Denver. We don't know what's going on with Derek Carr. He's been slow the last few weeks, has had decent matchups. And number 16, Carson Wentz at the New York Giants. We know he makes a lot of mistakes. We know he's not a great quarterback. But fantasy-wise, he's been productive. And number 17, we have Teddy Bridgewater home against Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is going to be angry. Bridgewater might have a rough week, but he still has a lot of weapons. This week, McCaffrey may not play, so he may have to pass some more. At 18, Cam Newton home against Baltimore. Cam just came off a good game against the Jets, where his team had to come back against the Jets. I think against the Ravens, they're just going to be slowed down almost to a halt. 19, Matthew Stafford home against Washington. It looks like Galladay's out again. And number 20, Drew Lock, who will be at Las Vegas. He's starting to play well, at least the last couple of weeks, because he's been forced to pass. We got to put him in our top 20 because of his recent performances. And number 21, Baker Mayfield home against Houston. It's another case. Bad quarterback, good matchup. We'll see how Baker Mayfield does coming back from COVID. At 22, Phillip Rivers at Tennessee. Rivers has been bad this season. We know he absolutely does not run. At 23, Kirk Cousins at Chicago. Minnesota's winning because of Cook. So obviously Kirk Cousins is passing a lot less. And at 24, Nick Foles, who's home against Minnesota. Nick Foles is also starting to show some signs of life. We still think he's among the worst starters in the NFL, but good enough to be in our top 25.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on here and sharing the top 24 quarterbacks for Week 10. We appreciate you staying on top of all the news and updates. So thanks for coming on here and sharing.
No problem.